Hey, I'm Brian from BrianKeaneFitness.com, qualified personal trainer and sports nutritionist. Here's the pyramid of prioritization for building muscle. So if that's your goal, check out this video. So if you're looking to build muscle and that's your primary goal at the minute, there's a step-by-step formula that you need to follow. Now, just to preface this, it's a little bit different to fat loss, which is a very straightforward process of getting to a caloric deficit. So you take fat from your body stores and you use it for fuel. Building muscle is a little bit more complicated than that because there's multiple things going on at once. But here's the order of importance or pyramid of prioritization for building muscle. Number one, your calorie intake. So when it comes to building muscle, the first 4 points in today's videos kind of overlap one another. But the number one, the foundation of the pyramid, is your calorie intake. And the reason I put calorie intake first instead of your protein intake is because if you're hitting your calorie target each day with your carbohydrates and fats, they're going to serve as protein-sparing macronutrients to help you build muscle. So even if your protein is a little bit lower, you're still going to be able to build muscle provided your calories are high enough. Now, if your calories are too high, you also have body fat increases with that, so you need to be mindful of your overall caloric intake. But understand that calorie intake plus some of the other points I'm going to mention in this video equal muscle gain. Which brings me on to point two, which is very closely connected, and that's your protein requirements. Amino acids that make up protein are the building blocks of muscle. Don't hit your protein requirements, you don't build muscle. It's really as simple as that. It's like trying to build a traditional house, but you don't have any blocks. It's just not going to happen. If you're trying to build a house, you need blocks and bricks. If you're trying to build muscle, you need amino acids and protein. Your protein requirement is going to vary person to person, but the general recommendation is 1 to 2 grams per kilogram body weight. So for example, if you weigh 80 kilos, your minimum requirements are going to be between 80 grams and 160 grams of protein per day. Of course, this varies person to person, your training program, the other macronutrients and calorie intake that you have each day, but that's the general best practice recommendation. So when it comes to food sources of protein, you generally want to stick with complete protein sources as much as possible. Complete proteins are effectively where you have all the essential amino acids in the food group that you're eating, meaning that you don't have to combine foods in order to hit all those essential amino acids. Essential amino acids meaning the ones you need to get from food or supplements because your body can't make it by itself or from other amino acids. Complete protein sources are things like chicken, turkey, beef, pork, meat and fish in general. That's not to say that you can't hit your protein requirements on a plant-based diet, you can. You just need to be a little bit more strategic with your food combinations. Your nuts, your seeds, your legumes, your different vegetables, your combinations of foods that will put together to try and make all your essential amino acids. Again, a little bit more complicated than just eating meat or fish, but not impossible. Just a little bit more difficult. Which brings me on to point number 3, which is your resistance training. So as you can see, each one of these points are layering upon one another. Caloric intake, your protein requirements, and your resistance training. If you're not creating enough resistance on the muscle, you're not going to be able to build any muscle. When you're in the gym, when you're doing body weight programs, when you're lifting weights or doing kettlebells or CrossFit or whatever it is you're doing, you're tearing down fibers in your muscle. You don't grow in the gym. You break down your muscle tissue, you break down muscle fibers, and you break your body down in the gym or at home if you're training at home. And then you repair it with your food, your sleep, your recovery in general. But when it comes to building muscle, you need to create some form of resistance on your body in order to grow. The training program then is largely going to be down to you. I generally recommend some form of hypertrophy, 8 to 10 reps, 3 to 4 sets, 60 to 90 second rest, focusing on your compound lifts, squat, bench press, military press, deadlifts, barbell rows. The multi-joint movements that give you a lot of bang for your buck. But the take-home message is you need some form of resistance training in your program in order to build muscle. Which brings me on to my 4th point, which is layered upon everything else, and that's your sleep and recovery. This is probably one of the most misunderstood areas when it comes to building muscle. The old adage that you don't grow in the gym, you grow when you sleep is largely true. If you're not getting a good night's sleep and you're not focusing on your recovery, you're not going to grow. Poor night's sleep equals high levels of cortisol. Too much training and under recovery also equals too much cortisol. And that's going to inhibit your ability to build muscle. So when it comes to building muscle, think about your sleep, think about your recovery. Sleep requirements vary person to person. Some people need 7 hours every night. Others need 8. Others need 9 hour plus. So experiment with what works best for you. And the same with your training. 3, 4, 5 high quality 45 to 60 minute sessions every week is more than enough to build muscle, provided you look at your nutrition and your sleep and your recovery. And this brings me on to the last point, the final 5%. And that's your supplements. And the truth is, you don't need any supplements to grow, but they can help and speed up your progress and help you build muscle faster if you choose the right ones. So when it comes to building muscle, the primary ones people generally recommend are whey protein or a good quality protein and creatine. And for good reason. They're both highly scientifically backed to support recovery and improve strength and stamina. So when it comes to choosing a protein supplement, you don't really have to overthink this one. Find one that fits into your budget, that you enjoy the taste of, and doesn't give you any gut or digestive distress. That's it. and then have it post-workout to enhance your recovery, or use it to supplement extra protein in some of your meals, like protein pancakes or protein smoothies. Creatine then, which is the most scientifically backed supplement of all time alongside caffeine, can enhance muscle growth further. What creatine does is it pulls water underneath your cell. So when you supplement with creatine, it can potentially allow you to move more weight or do the same weight you normally do for more repetitions. That can equal muscle growth. Think of creatine like a water bottle. An empty water bottle you can bend and crack and do what you like with it. A full water bottle that is full of water, you can put much more stress and resistance on it. That's how creatine works. It pulls more water underneath your cell, and you can create extra resistance on it. And again, when it comes to sports supplementation, always read the labels, check with your medical profession before you use any supplementation regimen. So there you have it. That's your pyramid of prioritization or order of importance for muscle building. Calorie intake, your protein requirements, your resistance training, and your sleep and recovery. And then sprinkled with a little bit of supplementation on top. So there you have it. If muscle building is your goal, hopefully this video helped you. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for videos coming each and every week.